Welcome back to the CoachIQ podcast. I am your host, Brandon Evans, a fellow training business and facility owner. Today we have Riley Parkinson, the founder of Next Level Hoops out of Melbourne, Australia. This is actually my first international guest on the show, which is pretty cool. Riley played college basketball here in the States. He got mentored by NBA trainer Ryan Rizuki like I did, so we'll definitely get into that. Then went back to Australia to build his own training business and facility. He's trained over 1,000 athletes at this point, including a bunch of pro and college guys. Riley, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me. Yeah, you pretty much summarized it all perfectly. College ball for a year, came back, started training, worked under Ryan for a little bit, and then, came back, and I've been training for about 3 years now.
Cool. Awesome. We're at pretty similar points, and we've had pretty similar journeys, aside from being in different countries. So I want to get into your experience with Ryan because, obviously I did it, like I said, and I think what he does is really cool and something that people should take advantage of. For people who don't know, he has a gym three gyms now out in California. He's trained a bunch of NBA guys, but he has a mentorship or internship program, whatever you want to call it, and you can pretty much just shadow under him for 3 months. Or I think he still does 3 months, but how did you connect with him and what was your experience like? I'd like to compare it to mine as well.
Yeah, so as soon as I came back from college, I was trying to transfer or just get back out to the States however I could. But while I was waiting, and reaching out to coaches and stuff, I started training some kids. And then just randomly, Ryan's video came up on my Instagram just saying that he was looking for interns, blah, 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 for May. And then I just sent through my application. I didn't think for a minute that I would get it. But then probably 30 minutes later, he's calling me and telling me to, get here for next week. So it all happened pretty quick. But yeah, because I had my car out there and, connections out there, it was pretty easy. Like, flew out to Kansas, drove my car from Kansas to San Diego, and then started the next day.
Oh, shoot. Is that where you were at? Where'd you play college in Kansas?
In Wichita.
Wichita, okay, cool. What college was that?
Bethel College.
Okay, cool. What was that? So you had a pretty quick change of I'm playing to I'm training. Was that hard to get used to?
It was, in a sense of like, I'm running these workouts and all I want mentally is to just be the one that's doing the workout, not running the workout. But it was good from a sense of like learning stuff from Ryan that I could then implement into my game, because I still had the idea or the vision that I would leave San Diego, go back home, train and play at the same time, which didn't last long.
That was going to be my next question. When did that go through your head where you're like, all right, never mind. Let me just train.
So I came back from being with Ryan in August, and by March the following year was when I was like, nah, I can't manage this. I need to go full-time as a trainer.
It's
a hard decision to make.
Yeah, was it just because you were doing so well, or was it just too much? What was the reasoning?
It was a couple of things. I got to the point where like my knees were killing from standing up and coaching all day to then going to practice, and to the point like it hurt to sit down and stand up. And then I was having to turn down clients and money to go and practice and play myself. Where it was like I can either go and be like a development player for, this semi-pro team, or I can actually train, which I really love and enjoy, make money while doing it. So yeah, it was a hard decision to make.
Yeah, and I think like, because I didn't play college or anything, and my thought was always like, I probably could have played at like some super small schools and whatever and still enjoyed it, but what am I going to do long term? Like, what am I going to be involved in long term? Ultimately, like I got into coaching when I was like 15 or 16. So it's just like, I wanted to get started on what I thought I would do long term. For me, it ended up being training, but at the time I thought it was coaching, but kind of the same thing ish. But there's just so many people that go through that, like, oh, I still want to play, I still want to play, I still want to play. When I think people's focus could be better used on maybe training, coaching, analyst, whatever you want to be involved in basketball wise or soccer wise or whatever sport you do. It's not wrong to just to just let
But
it
yeah,
go.
I still get like, because it's the feeling of still wanting to play and wanting to hoop, but I still get that. Like, even with the older guys that I train, like sometimes I'll hop in, or
Of
some of
course.
the guys, like I'll play one on one with them, all that kind of stuff. So I'm still a part of it. I just don't
Mhm.
have to go through the whole team system. But, as a trainer, as you know yourself, you can make a whole lot more money training than playing on, some pro team.
Yes, and to your point, like you can still be involved in basketball. Like the amount
Yeah,
of people whose the dream it is to be in basketball for a living,
yeah.
and you just do it a different way.
Mm.
Um, so, touching on your experience with Ryan again, what if you had to pick maybe one or two things, whether it be business or training wise, what were the things that you brought back to Australia with you and like, okay, these are the biggest things he told me, and I have to do these.
Well, that sounds a little bit dumb, but I really had no idea about actually running a training business. I was just training kids for like a couple of weeks, and it was just $10 an hour. Pay me cash. We'll talk through Facebook Messenger. Like it
Ten
wasn't a
dollars.
business. So the main takeaways for me, because I'd already played like the basketball side of things, like I knew a lot of it already. But it was the business. It was, making sure I'm collecting emails. And I'm like, why do I need to collect emails if I can just text them? That was my thought process. So yeah, I think a lot of the business stuff, like getting them to, submit their email and their details so then I can follow up and, I've got them on my email list. And then, taking payment before I put their session in my calendar, before I schedule it in. Things like that, because there are plenty of times where you get no shows or people who don't want to pay you on time or whatever it may be. So I think it was just things like that that actually helped me turn it into a business rather than just a side gig or a little hobby. But in terms of basketball, it was, kids need to be moving around the whole time. They need to, finish with both hands, dribble with both hands, deal with a lot of contact, shoot the ball, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
trying to structure workouts around all of those things.
yeah. I was the reason I asked that is like he was always on me about like emails, collect their emails. I'm like, dude, why? Like, I was like, no, I didn't collect their emails. He was like, wow, you just messed up. I'm like, but now obviously I understand now because you have their email, you can market to them, you can let them know about your future events, and eventually those people might become members that are on your email list for so long. So being able to collect somebody's email and contact information is so important because it keeps them in your marketing. Just always every mass email you send out, all that little stuff is so important. And then to the basketball point, the biggest thing, and you mean you said it too, so clearly we were under the same thing, and he didn't change anything. um, just keep the kids moving. Like no, absolutely no lines. Like every now, like the ideal flow, like whenever we have a new trainer come on, the ideal flow, I'm like, they can maybe jog back in line, have a second to collect themselves, and boom, next rep starts. Because I mean, I've talked about this with soccer coaches, sports performance coaches. As soon as there's a line, especially if you have kids 8th grade and below, they're gonna just start like I don't know, doing somersaults and throwing the ball at each other. Or like
Yeah. Yeah.
literally, you will turn around and just see something you've never seen before, and you're just like, okay,
Yep.
all right. Um,
Yeah. It can be rough. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, and from the parents' perspective too, that's something they appreciate a lot. Is like, oh, the kids are always moving. They got a great workout in, which
Mm.
is that the point to get them super tired and everything? Sometimes maybe, but from the parent perspective, they see their kids tired and they're moving and everything, and because you
Yeah.
see like, I'm sure you get this a lot. Do you get pushback at all because of you do mainly groups now, right? Yeah. Do you ever get pushback at all? Like, oh, we have to do private sessions.
A lot of the time, yeah. And there's kids that I've been doing private for pretty much the whole time I've been training them, and they'll refuse to go into groups.
Yeah, and I think it's just because of the stereotype of how typical groups are ran at like mass academies. Like most of them, yeah, there's a huge line. There's a couple basketballs. Kids aren't really doing anything, and it's more just like a social thing. Which fine, whatever. If you want to be at a big camp, cool, it's fine. So I think when people hear groups, they just automatically think, oh, my kid's not going to get paid attention to. He's not going to get better, and it's going to be a waste of time. Because I mean, truthfully, that's what how a lot of group sessions are ran. Fortunately, but and I'm sure in my gym and obviously in your gym because you have your own gym now, it's just a different experience. Like keeping kids moving is actually like one of the biggest things Ryan and the other trainers at his gyms told me was like teach it like an actual classroom setting, like you were a teacher, how you would sit down in school and the teacher would teach you things and you do them, like treat
Yep.
it like that.
Yeah.
And that was a huge thing to switch my perspective on it. Um, okay, so take me back here. You grew up in Melbourne, played junior ball there. Then you went to the U.S. for college basketball. What made you want to leave Australia and come to America?
It was funny because, like, ever since I was a kid, all I ever wanted to do was go to America and live there too. I don't know why. I think it was probably just, the movies I watched, the music I listened to, like, America just seemed bright and shiny and everything cool was there, and I was stuck in Australia. So, always wanted to go there, not necessarily for basketball. But then once I started playing basketball, I was like, okay, well, here's actually a pathway that I can go to get to America and play basketball. And then college basketball became the goal for me. So then, yeah, I just started reaching out to coaches and, marketing myself, putting my highlights on Twitter, all that kind of stuff. Anything I could do really to just get over there.
Yeah, and when you finished your college, you said you were trying to find ways to get back in the United States. After your time with Ryan, why did you? Apologies if you answered this already, but why did you go back to Australia?
So the visa that I was on is only a visiting tourist visa. So I was only allowed to be there for 3 months. So after that, I could then, Ryan could hire me and I could get a working visa and go through that process. But Ryan had said to me, like, because it got to the end of my internship and, like, there'd be nights where, like, I was crying because I didn't want to leave these kids after 3 months of training some of these kids every day. Like, these kids were amazing. I didn't want to leave. And obviously in my head, I'm like, I don't want to go back to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, I could hire you, but you're going to make more money if you run your own business and, essentially try and dominate Australia.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, he wasn't wrong. So you come back to Australia with this U.S. experience and your time with Ryan. Walk me through starting the business. You touched on it a little bit about you were training kids and playing at the same time, but after you decided to stop, okay, like I'm gonna stop playing, and what was the beginning like of everything?
So when I came back from Ryan, I was because I had, 3 clients. I was just running privates. It got to the point like I started getting a little bit of popularity, especially just in my area for being the trainer and the trainer that posts on social media. So, that obviously helped getting clients. It got to the point like throughout the school holidays or whatever, I was training like 10 to 12 hours a day just back to back to back privates. Which I mean, I was making the most money I've ever made, but not at that point, but I was burnt out like crazy doing, private after private. And then, training and playing on top of that. So then when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to go all in on this training. I'm going to stop playing, at least for now, put that aside, put all my efforts into coaching. That's when I started switching over to groups as well. So the way I was doing it is I would train privately from 6 a.m. when like this leisure center opened till about 9, 10 a.m. And then people would be at school I'd train some pros or some older guys throughout the day, and then 4 o'clock in the afternoon. In Australia, it's very hard to get any court access. So I was training on an outdoor court at a school. So I was doing groups, 2 or 3 groups, yeah, with 2 or 3 kids, 4 kids. So they weren't big groups or anything. And then, obviously the challenges with an outdoor court is that, it's dark at 5 p.m. or it's dark at 6 p.m. It's raining one day, it's super windy, you've got other people on the other courts throwing balls and screaming, and so yeah, that's pretty much how it went.
Yeah. I remember you posting about that. What was it, like a rec center? How did you even get connected with that facility? Was it just purely I rent this course space for X dollars an hour, or was there some other partnership with that?
No, just picture it like a YMCA. I think there's 8 courts at that facility.
It was
And
huge.
especially at the time that I was going in at 6 a.m., it's just $5 casual entry. So, and then in the afternoons, all the courts were booked out anyway with team trainings and stuff.
Yeah.
On the weekends and stuff when I would train, yeah, I'd have to pay the $25 an hour for a half court and book the half court. But yeah, so that's what I'd do on the weekends. So on the weekends, I ran some group classes there as well.
They didn't have any issue with you just bringing people in and training them?
No,
Interesting. I feel a lot of places here they would have an issue with that.
really?
Yeah, like there's the YMCA near my house. There's been some people that host trainings and stuff like on the half courts, and like they get shut down because people are making money out of their facility without renting. So
Fair
like,
enough.
but even then, like $25 for a half court, it's not really not bad. Like
Mm.
it's not bad at all. Um, but yeah, that was interesting. At what point did I know you have your facility now, and we'll get into that a little bit more. At what point was it just a matter of you needing to hit like a certain amount per month, or were you always on the search for a facility from the moment you stopped playing?
I always knew that was the goal, right? Especially after my time with Ryan. Like I knew that was where I needed to be in order to actually see some real money and, take advantage of being a trainer. And I think for myself as well, just feeling like an actual trainer and not this guy who just travels from this place to this place to train on an outdoor court. Like it actually, I don't know. I think the mentality of having a gym is that, okay, now this is actually a career. But I was looking just to get ideas, especially early on. But once I was consistently making at least what the rent would be, that's when I was looking everywhere. And I was looking all over the place. Now, for me, I guess the best way to picture where I live is if you think Melbourne is San Diego, and then where my gym is where Ryan's gym is in San Marcos. I'm still another 30 minutes north, like almost in the country. So I'm very out north, and for me to try and find a gym that's close enough to my clients, but not an hour away from where I live, but has, an open floor plan and doesn't have, mezzanine upstairs or anything like that. It's pretty difficult. So I was kind of just going through the motions of like I'd look every couple of weeks, wouldn't really find anything that was suitable, keep training, just keep hoping that something will pop up. And then eventually something did. Eventually something came up, perfect location, right near that leisure center that I used to train at, 25 minutes from my house, right near a bunch of big clubs. Once I found that, emailed the real estate agent straight away.
Yeah, it was fun to see you get all that situated. I feel like it came about super fast.
Yeah.
Like
Very.
we were talking in DMs and you were like, "Oh, I'm looking for a place," and then all of a sudden I see you post like, "Gym coming soon." I was like, "Okay." Um, Something I want to circle back here. I forgot to ask this. You mentioned, you have what? How many followers on social media now? Like 30K ish,
Yeah, just under 30K on
around there.
both
Yeah,
Instagram and TikTok.
You just recently surpassed me. Um, we have very similar experiences when it started to this. Was being that like quote unquote Instagram trainer, was that ever a detriment to you? Because I know at least when I started, there was always a few people that were like, oh, you just, Instagram guy, Instagram trainer, he just does this for content, blah, blah, blah. I'm interested to hear your thought on that.
I don't think I got that necessarily. Like, I don't think people thought I wasn't a good trainer because I did social media or anything. But I definitely got hated on by people who didn't know me or whatever and who just saw what I was doing from the outside. Because, I mean, there are a couple other trainers in Australia, like bigger trainers, who, post their workouts and stuff. But as a new guy, when you're just starting out and you're posting on social media, like, yeah, you get clowned on, you get people that hate from the sidelines, all that. And then as soon as it starts paying off, that's when people take it seriously.
Yep, 100%. That is, if there's any trainers listening that are like hesitant about posting content, it doesn't matter. Just post the content. Like, it's not even.
Sorry, you go.
Oh yeah, it's not even about like, yeah, you can get to 30,000 followers. Cool, that's great. But, which, it does help. Like, obviously, like, people see the followers and probably the verified badge, and they're like, oh, wow, who's this guy? But it's more about just building that authority. Like, I'm in the gym every single day. This is an inside look of what I do. These are my opinions, my thoughts, and this is why you should come to me. Like, I always say to people that, like, your Instagram is your website now, pretty much. Like, it's a more personal website almost. Like, when somebody comes to your Instagram, they see you and all your opinions, all your thoughts, and if it's apparent, they're like, oh, I like this guy, it seems legit, and now I want to go to him. So, like, versus just coming to, like a big rec center page, like, oh, they have a camp at this time, and that's it. They have no other reference of like who is there, So it's just post content, like,
Yeah,
just post it.
you
You
got to
will
get
get
in
made
that.
fun of. You will get made fun of. You're gonna look back on it and be like, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. But
That's
just
what I was
post it.
gonna say. I
Yeah,
look back at all my old videos and they are terrible, and I don't know why I even posted them. And
yeah,
I'm probably gonna look back in a couple of years at the ones I'm posting now, thinking they're terrible too.
yeah. And you just get better every day as you do something. Like, that's just natural. Like, you're posting content every day, it's naturally gonna get better. But yeah, you'll definitely have those people that make fun of you for this or that. And then the moment you get a gym, all of a sudden it's quiet, or they're coming to you like, oh, I've been supporting you from day one.
Yeah,
It's just the same process, but just don't be afraid to post content. It's huge. And we'll dive into that a little bit more later. But I want to talk about, you have a very, very similar story, journey as I did. I started my business as Brandon Evans Basketball. You started yours as your name, right? It was
mm.
Parko Ball Training, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you got a gym and it's Next Level Hoops. I got a gym, it's Pro Standard. What was your thought process behind that?
So, I mean, because I want to build a business, and eventually my goal is to really not step foot in there. And at the end of the day, in years to come, back away, and people who come to that gym don't even know who I am or know that I'm affiliated with it. And I knew if I put Parko Ball Training or put my name on it, like the Parko Ball Training facility or whatever, people are going to go there and expect to train with me or expect to see me, whatever it may be. But if I can start from essentially zero and call it Next Level Hoops, sure, everyone that trains with me now knows that that's my thing. But now all these new clients, they come in, and it's getting to the point now, like I've had the gym I've had it since May last year. And, I've got other coaches that work for me, and kids will come in for their trial sessions and train with another coach. I may not even be there, or I might just be sitting at the desk, and they don't even know that I'm a trainer. That's why I did it, so that eventually I can step away, other trainers can run it, grow Next Level Hoops, and I myself am still Parko Ball Training. That's my name on Instagram and everything like that. But if you come to the gym, you're training at it at a Next Level Hoops facility with a Next Level Hoops trainer.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Was it, because I know it was for me, was it hard to let go of that original name? Like, people were coming for the Next Level Hoops now, not Parko Ball Training. Was it hard to let go of that?
Definitely. Yeah, because I still get questions like, oh, what happened to Parko Ball Training? Are you Next Level Hoops now? Did you change? And it's a whole thing to get into, but yeah, I mean, it definitely was hard, and I think eventually, like, I'll end up changing my name on Instagram just to, my name, like Riley Parkinson or something, because eventually Parko Ball Training will fade out, and Next Level Hoops will grow, and then I'll grow myself and my name.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. You nailed it 100% with your reasoning behind it, and it was the same thought process for me. Having it just be you, your name, it doesn't limit the growth to just you. Like, you can have other trainers and everything for sure, but my thought always was, I want to build something that's so much bigger than just like myself, right? Like, I want to have trainers on board. I want to be able to have them all run it so I can step back and focus on all the back end stuff, opening up a second facility if I want to, and really multiply the impact of my gym and my program. And like you said, like, I'm at the point now where some of these kids don't even know I just hang out in the corner and I'm on my computer and working, and like, I'll come up and say hi to them and they have no idea who I am. Like, they have no idea that I own the place. Like, there's like, I don't know who this guy is talking to me. And that's fine. Like, I've released all of the ego from that. I'm more than happy to own the gym, and it does well, and it makes a really good impact on people. And I spend my time on the back end. Like, I'll train every now and then still, but exactly like you said, you 100% nailed that. So let's talk about the gym where it's at today. I looked a little bit through your website. Walk me through the business model now that you have the gym. How does it all work? If somebody wants to come train with you, what are their options? What do you push them towards? What do you prefer?
Okay, so in terms of groups, like, groups is the main thing that we run. 4 group classes every weeknight. So, and then one on the weekends as well. We've got 2 different options. We've got deluxe membership, where kids can train 5 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever they want. And we have another option where it's 1 time a week. So they get a certain amount of credits in a month. They can use those credits for sessions. So for example, if they're on the 4 credit a month membership, they can come once a week. They can come twice in 1 week and then skip a week, however they want to structure it. So we have those 2 memberships. We were offering a free trial session. I've now changed that to a paid trial session, just due to a lot of no-shows and people filling it in and then forgetting about it or whatever. Still offer privates, but try and stay away from it as much as possible. Not only from a business point of view, it's not worth the time, but in terms of development as well. Like, I'm sure you see that the groups are actually way better than private sessions. Like, you will develop so much quicker through a group training session than a private session.
Yes, 100%. Speaking on that point, like, there's so many benefits to being in a group setting versus a private setting. Like, you can't play against somebody in a private setting. You can't watch others do whatever we're doing in a private setting. There's just no community is built in a private setting. Like, there's just so many things that are missed out in the individual setting. So, like, and that's a thing that's so hard to convince parents of, is that it's actually worse for them. They're paying more and it's worse. Naturally you think, like, if you pay $100, how much are your private sessions?
$100.
Yeah, you pay $100, and how much are your groups?
60.
Say you did your 1 time a week membership. How much is that?
If we're doing the 1 time a week, price has just gone up, so it's $300 a month.
Okay, so $300 for 3 private sessions. you think like, oh, I'm spending $300 for these 3 private sessions, and it is going to be so much better than coming to groups because you're spending more technically. But it's just because of the person's time you have to pay for, the gym space you have to pay for when they could be doing something else. It's not because it's more valuable. Like, it's just simply not. And we could get super into the development aspect of stuff, but just having a group setting is 100% superior.
I think they think the one-on-one is better simply because it's one-on-one and all the attention is on the one player, but you can't do you can't do everything you need to do for that development. And sure, like a one-on-one session every now and then can be good to touch up a few things, whether it's like I say one-on-one, if you're going to do a one-on-one session, it's probably best if it's focused around like developing your form, like your shot form. Because that's easier to do in a one-on-one setting, at least for me. If I can focus all my attention, we can get just slow, easy reps in, develop your form. All right, now you go and practice that at home now that I've shown you. But now we've got to get into the groups where you can compete. Like you said, see others do what you might not be able to do. Others are going to lift the intensity, push the pace.
Yeah, and even to that point, if we are doing shot training or shot form, like the large majority of the changes that are going to be made are spent outside of the hour with you. Like, whenever somebody, because we get this all the time, and I'm sure you do too, like, oh, my son or daughter needs help with his shooting form. And like, okay, we'll show them a few things to do, and they can do it. And it takes me no more than 5 minutes. Like, most of the time, it's just shoot with one hand. And shoot with one hand, and then don't flick your thumb with the other hand. And then all their problems are solved, pretty much. So, like, that's why I try to, people ask, they want it so bad, and it's like, or another thing I always offer, which people almost never ever take advantage of, I'm like, if you just send us a video through, I know you use CoachIQ, if you send me a video through CoachIQ, I'll give it to you back and I'll tell you what to do. And then they say, okay, that's great, and then they never do it. So it's like I'll even offer it for free. I'm like, yeah, you just send it to us and we'll do it real quick. And then the kid does it, like, and then
100%.
Nobody ever does it. But yeah, it's just so something too. You position your groups as small groups. What is your maximum?
6 plays.
6. Okay. Is that because of your gym size, or is that because you think 6 is optimal?
Mainly gym size. Like if I had a bigger space, I would probably push it to 8. But yeah, no more than 8. Just because, especially if there's only one coach in there at a time, whether it's me or another coach, any more than that can get too difficult to manage. Lines can start to form if or you have to adjust the drills accordingly. So I find 6 is usually the sweet spot, at least for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, mine is 10, I believe, but I mean, we do have a bigger space in here. We have 2 hoops, so we kind of could just roll through. But
Yeah,
I was just curious if it was a space thing, or not. Just because I mean, we both were at Ryan's gym. You were up in San Marcos, right?
yeah, I was at the bigger gym, yeah.
Okay, I was in El Cajon, and they somehow fit like 12 kids in that gym.
Yeah,
And
props to them.
yeah, I just couldn't do it. But Ryan always did a really good job of having multiple trainers in the hour, so that did make it easier. There was always 3 with me there, 2 or 3 guys that were running the workout, so you could make it work. Which that was probably the absolute craziest thing that I saw that whole summer was
Yeah.
having that many kids in that gym. I was like, what is
I
happening?
I remember like training at San Marcos for probably like 2 months straight, and you probably have a maximum of 5 kids per basket and a coach at each basket. But then there was a couple of days where I went down to El Cajon to help out, and yeah, like you said, there's like 12 kids down there. There's these hoops, this tiny gym, and it's just chaotic. But there's so many trainers in there. And then one of the trainers said to me, he's like, "All right, you've got the next drill." I'm like, how am I supposed to run this without them running into each other?
It
I
was who
figured it
was
out
it?
at the end of the day, but there's definitely an art to that.
Who said that? Which trainer?
Clay.
Clay. Yeah, Clay. I miss that guy. He did the same thing to me. I was just like, I don't know what to do, man. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's such a small. It's like for people who don't know or haven't seen. If you somehow haven't seen that gym, it's that small gym that has the Kobe and Gianna painting on the back, the one that Mikey Williams was dunking in for 5 years straight all the time. It's like there's not even a 3 point line, or there is a 3 point line, but it gets cut off like just above the free throw line, and there's maybe it's a full width, right?
Yeah. High school.
Full
Yeah.
width, yeah, full width, and you have your top of the key on the far side. Look, it's just wild. I remember walking in there and I was like, how?
Yeah.
And it's crazy once you see it because then I'm sure you had the same experience when. Well, I guess you didn't train in there the whole summer, but like when I got back to here and I had a full court, I was like, I don't know what to do with all this space. Like I have no idea. Like I have too much space here. I don't know what to do with it. And which I mean, it made me get out of my comfort zone and learn how to do different things. But yeah, that gym is wild. Moving on here. You're my first international guest. We've had Mitch have some international guys on, but what is the basketball training scene like in Australia? Is it as massive as it is here in the United States?
No, no, it's not. It's growing. It's definitely growing. I'm sure you probably experience the same in the US, but right now it's in Australia, it's very much players wanting to make money on the side will just become a trainer. And I mean, essentially that's what I did, so I can't knock it. Like I did that too. That was my startup. But yeah, a lot of it is that. So you can throw a rock and hit a trainer here in Australia now, but in terms of full-time actual trainers, there's not many. There's not many
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, that's it's pretty similar to here. Like some other people might have bigger operations than others, but as far as like established businesses, there's only a few. But like you said, there's a million trainers. Everybody's a trainer. Everybody
Yeah.
has their own little training thing. So to that point, you've seen US, you've seen Australia. Is there anything different about the two markets as far as how your target customer views skill development? Like here, it's very play, 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 and then if you have time, we can train. Is it the same way there, or is it opposite?
It's actually the opposite. So it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone about this yesterday or the day before about like we will structure it about 40 minutes of training, hitting the pad, shooting, all that kind of stuff. And then 15, 20 minutes of like we're playing 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 1-on-1 small sided games. And for me, I know that the development would probably be better if I split it differently, if I did more playing, because that's what a lot of these kids, they just need to play more in in an environment where they feel okay to mess up. But I'm well aware of the parent perspective that they play on the weekends, they might play 3 or 4 games on the weekend. They don't go and shoot at home like they need skill development. They need bumping the pad. They need more shooting and more left-hand layups. So it's trying to balance that. And I know that the kids obviously enjoy the playing the most. They like
Right.
competing. That's their favorite thing. So in Australia, think of team basketball. It's very, very team orientated. There's not a lot of individual skill development. There's not a lot of one-on-one or anything like that. Whereas in America, there's a big one-on-one culture. There's a lot more ISO ball and things like that. So I'm trying to bring that, I guess, US style to Australia in a sense with making kids, I don't want to say work harder because Australians do work hard, but it's a different breed. Like US, the standard of working hard is a lot higher than the standard in Australia.
Hmm.
running back every rep, going 100% with almost everything you do. Like, that's what I want to try and bring and instill into these kids here. And creating dogs as well by competing, and talking some smack and, having a little bit of ego and a little bit of, being a show pony. Like, I know there's a point where it gets toxic, but
Hmm.
I don't like, I shouldn't say I don't like, but there's a lot of, you know, block a shot, they fall over, oh, are you okay? Help you up, oh, I'm sorry, and it's like, you're not going to survive. Like, I get it as a person, great job, but on the basketball court, nah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, to your point, there's a lot of that here. Like
Yeah.
that's like I'll always, I don't know if you do the same, but whenever we go live in my gym, where all of me and all of our trainers, I'm always like, listen, we're not going to call fouls unless it's like unbelievably blatant. Then we'll call it. But you guys got to figure it out.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I do
figure it
too.
out. Yeah, like I really don't. I'll call fouls every now and then, but really, really, it's rare.
Just got to
Um,
play through it. It's going to make you
yes,
better at the end of the day.
yeah, like it's supposed to be messy and rough in this gym. So when you get to the game and you get fouled, it's like, oh, that was whatever. Like, because I mean, in games here, sometimes maybe not so much on the AAU side, but on the school side, any little tap on the shoulder is a foul. Which I mean, by the rule book probably. But if you train in a way where you're used to going through and getting bullied, like it's gonna be nothing, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we have similar perspectives on that for sure.
Mm.
And it's trust me, it's not just Australia that has kids that are too nice. It happens here too. Like
Yeah.
it's okay to be a little mean. It's all right.
Mm. It
Everybody's
is.
gonna be okay.
Yeah. Be friends off
Um,
the court. You can, yeah,
yeah,
you can be nice to each other as soon as the session's over. But while you're competing, you got to compete.
yeah. Like I actually just got a text from a parent the other day. We have a pretty skilled and competitive group of fifth grade kids here, and the parent was like, "Oh, they played there in their like school league in the weekend." It's like, dude, they were going at each other, they were talking crap the whole game, and then just competing. And then after the game, shook hands. It was all love. Like
Hmm.
that is just how it should be. Like no friends in between the lines.
100%.
It's again, it's up to us who don't have any bias when it comes to that to try to instill that. So you work mainly with youth, right? For the most part, but I've seen you post a bunch. You've trained NBL and NBL1 athletes. You post Robbie Heath. Is that who you post a lot? Him, and who's the women's player that you post a lot? Recently, I've been checking. Um,
I've lost. I don't know. I'm trying to think of who I trained. I try and stick away from the pros now.
I was about
Jaden
to
Holland?
ask. Yes, that's who it is. Yep, I
Yes.
couldn't. It was I thought I remembered and then I just blanked. Her. What's it like training professional Australian league players? Because pros in the U.S. have their stereotypes. I'm
Yeah.
curious about
Well,
what it's like over there.
funny you brought up those two because Robbie played high school, like grew up in America, like high school and college in America. Jaden is American as well. She only came over for one season. Yeah, so they're both. I mean, Robbie is Australian, but yeah, very American. Um, but in terms of like training Australian pros, it's definitely different to training American pros. 100%. In the nicest way possible, saying it, they don't care about you or your time. Yeah, and that's not speaking about individuals I've trained. It's just like an
Yeah.
overall. overall generalization.
Saying, of course, there are. I don't mean to interrupt you. There are exceptions to this.
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
of
Yeah.
course, if you spend your time and train somebody, they're not going to be of that group.
Yeah,
Just want to make that clear. There are exceptions to that rule.
absolutely.
Continue.
And Americans, very similar to what I was talking about, like comparing Americans and Australians, like a lot of the bag work and a lot of the ISO stuff. The Australian pros I've trained where we're working out of your team's action, where some of them I'm trying to. There's one guy I work with, Ryan Philippi, who is very, very like team orientated. So when we first started training, he didn't really have a bag as such. He spot up shooting, coming off screens, passing the ball like just pure point guard. Now I'm like he's at the point where you could put him in a one-on-one event or take him over to American basketball and he'd fit him because I'm trying to do the opposite. I'm trying to make him more Americanized by handling the ball more, shooting the ball, shooting off the dribble, you know, getting confidence so that he can be cocky and talk some smack. And so I think it just depends on the player, but for a large part, Australians are very team orientated, not a lot of bag work. Usually pretty good shooters, catch and shoot, and Americans like to get downhill, have a bag.
Yeah, and I mean that's pretty accurate. But as far as the narrative of basketball nowadays, at least from everything I've seen, it's accurate. Um, so you've done a lot in just a few years. Thousands of athletes. Your pros and your college guys that you've worked with and girls. You have your own facility now, but you're still really early in your career. Like you're younger than me. I'm 26 or
22.
20. Yeah, you're 22. Jeez. Okay. How have you established credibility when you're closer in age to some of your athletes than to their parents?
It's hard, but it also makes it easier because I can connect with the kids very very quickly and easily because I still remember being their age because it wasn't that long ago. It's been a learning curve trying to, I guess, yeah, establish credibility and um, trying to think of the word, but I guess put my foot down and be firm with parents who are my parents' age. That's definitely been a learning curve, and I'm definitely getting better with that over time. But I was very easygoing at the start and very like you're the boss because you're older than me, and I've started to realize over time that this is my business and what I say goes, and you're my client,
Yeah,
which is
and
scary when I'm 22 and they're 50. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve.
yeah, it's all. I said I went through the same thing. It's all just how you approach it, right? Like and this kind of leads me naturally into talking about Coach IQ. I know you use Coach IQ too, but as much as Coach IQ is, your management platform and all that stuff, it helped me with that. It helped me with, holding my ground on things
Mm.
like a cancellation policy. If somebody wanted to show up and they haven't paid yet, it's like, no, you have to book through Coach IQ. Just book here, and then it automatically is like, oh, you have to pay. So it was never me being like, hey, I have to get this payment. Yeah, you can come, but it's $20. Like it removed. It helped me. It helped me become more firm in what I was doing, right, and running it like a business. Like, oh, you have to book before you come in, and to book you have to pay. It's that simple. Like, there's no other way around it. It's not like I'm not saying I was like dodging it, but it's the system I set up, right? It's the system I set up, and you have to follow the rules if you want to come to the gym. It's like it's that simple, and I think people respect that instead of just you texting them like, hey, you have to Venmo me $15, right? Like they have
Yeah.
a legitimate payment portal, and they see that. So you are a Coach IQ user. how do you use it? Because every coach uses it a little bit differently. I personally use it for pretty much everything when it comes to scheduling, booking. That's the same thing. Scheduling, communication, my website, all that. How do you use it?
Well, I'll tell you the reason I started it. I first hopped onto CoachIQ because I was following him on Instagram and would like Russell would post a lot of like just good information, just good tips, about how groups are better than privates. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, that could work. And then yeah, right before it was actually a couple months before I got my facility, I got in touch with him, set myself up on CoachIQ because I knew that was one of the key steps to actually take myself from a trainer who trains randomly to a business owner, regardless of having it like a gym or not. But yeah, I use it mainly, yeah, for scheduling, for my website, all of that. I haven't really touched too much on like the online program side of things, which is something I definitely want to dive into this year. But for the most part, like before I was using Coach IQ, I was scheduling everything on Google Calendar. I had an Excel spreadsheet of who had paid and who showed up to what group class, and I was getting PayPal, I was getting bank transfer, I was getting cash in hand, and
Bank transfer.
yeah, everything. Like, yeah, it was a lot. So Coach IQ just helped me simplify everything and have, especially having the one portal for everything that you need. That's been the best part about it. Like I don't need that Excel spreadsheet anymore. I don't need to be refreshing my bank account to see if that money's come through. I don't need to be texting the clients. You know, everything's just done through this.
Yeah. Speaking of texting part too, thing that I use a lot as well is you can get a number through Coach IQ and text clients from there. I use that so much because I'm sure for you too. I don't know if you use that or not, but I don't get any text to my personal phone anymore. Like,
Well, I need to change that then.
yeah, you do 100%. I will. I do not get any text to my personal phone. I just because it was so hard to deal with business stuff and personal stuff in my same. Once it got to a point at the beginning, like yeah, okay, you got to go through that.
Mm.
But once it gets to a certain point, you can set up a SMS through Coach IQ, and if you can text and go back and forth in between um, parents there, so that way nobody gets my personal phone.
Mm.
It's great. It's
Yeah,
if you
that's
haven't
good.
looked into
I
that.
was actually just on the phone with Ryan about a week ago, and he was like, "Get rid of your personal number off your website. Like, don't let anyone have that." And I was like,
Yeah,
"Yeah,
that's
I want to, but I don't know what the solution is."
yeah, no, that you can set it if you go into your settings, you'll find it. And if people call it, it'll just route to your normal phone. So yeah, you need to do that. I don't know how you still have your your personal on there. That's funny. So okay, last couple questions here for you. What is next for the gym and your personal brand? Where do you want to be in a year or two? Where do you want the gym to be?
So I'll start off with the gym. The plan for the gym is to obviously grow and get a lot of members in, but then I want to hire another coach, someone who can come on a little bit more full time, 3 to 5 days a week, who can oversee and run a lot of the group classes. I still have two other people that I have on staff as well who run 1 to 2 group classes a week, but get to a point where I'm not the one running majority of it. I don't have to be there every day. I don't have to think about the gym as much. I'm still there for the most part 5 to 7 days a week. And and that's opening up, that's locking up, that's doing emails, whatever it may be, running sessions. So I want to get to the point where the gym can at least manage without me, because like we talked about, like I'm coming to the US in a couple of days and I'm having to shut the gym for 3 weeks. I want to get to the point where that's not even thought. I don't even have to think about shutting the gym because it's just going to run itself. When it needs to be. So that's it for the gym side of things, and just keep developing coaches to build and run better and better workouts. For me, I want to be traveling, hosting camps, connecting with athletes all over Australia and all over the world. And I want to diversify my income so it's not just from the gym, but it's through online programs, it's through camps, through events. And, especially with like recently, I've been having a lot more success on social media, and, 30,000 followers in Australia is a lot bigger than 30,000 followers in America just due to the population size. Right, so now I'm getting to a point where I go out and I get recognized. Well, I'm trying to turn that into money where I can go all over the country, whether it's events, camps, whatever it may be, just so I can, I can meet more people can meet me. I can not just work with a small select area where my gym is at, and I can work with kids all over the country.
Yeah. Yeah. And then my last question here, we touched on this a little bit through it and you just mentioned it. What would your advice be to the private sports coach, whether it be basketball, soccer, football, that wants to grow their social media?
How much time do we have?
Plenty of time, but I told you there's no rush.
Well, I think it just starts off with like you said, just post. Just doesn't matter how bad it is, just post. Just post something. Because over time you're going to get better. Then it's a matter of staying consistent and also trying different things. So when I started at Ryan's gym, I was posting videos, talking to the camera and saying, here are 3 moves that you need to do to get to the basket. And looking back, they were terrible. But at the time, I thought they were awesome. I'd be excited if I got 1,000 views. Then I came back to Australia and I started getting my girlfriend to film the workouts at 6 a.m. with me mic'd up. And then I would chop up little, bits from that. Me saying to do the drill, they do it wrong. I correct them, they do it right. Posting that. I started getting like 2,000 or 3,000 views. Like a really, really good one would get, 5,000 views. And I did that for ages without trying many new things, because I thought that was the way everyone else was doing it in Australia, so that's the way you have to go. And then I tested a couple of skits and I was like, oh, they do really well, but I'm not interested in getting changed in and out of clothes at a public leisure center for one video just to get 10,000 views. So then when I got my gym, I was like, all right, I'm going to try skits again, and they took off. They did really well. So I think it's just about trying different things while staying consistent. Because now, once I tried skits, I realized that they were the thing that worked for me. And then within that, I'm testing out different niches. So my more popular videos are where I'm talking specifically to Australian parents and players. Because not only are there no trainers, or not many trainers posting content, no one else is posting skits in Australia. And no one else is posting skits directly talking to Australian basketball families and athletes. So that's how I found my little pocket, my little niche, and that's working well for me so far. But, in the future, I'm sure I'm going to have to change. I'm going to have to try something else and figure it out. But in the long run, it's just staying consistent and trying to make micro improvements along the way.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. That's with social media. If you have a facility, whatever, you just consistency, which is my problem, is consistency. Consistency, and then just figuring out what works. Like, you did a really good job noticing that nobody did skits directed towards Australian parents, and it's worked out for you. Maybe people are going to people will probably start copying that, and you're going to have to find the next big thing. And with the gym, my gym, we continue to change up how we do things. Not change up, but refine. You're going to do the same thing. It's just how it works. Like, growing anything, whether it be social media or a facility or a program, whatever, consistency and just improving every day, 100%. So I agree with you 100%. I think you nailed that. So we'll close out here. Riley, thank you for coming on. It was really cool to talk about your journey from Melbourne to U.S. college, to getting mentored by Ryan, to building your own facility in Australia. There's a lot here for any private sports coach to learn from, regardless of sport or country now. Where can people find you and the gym? Awesome. We'll make sure to put all of those links down in the description and on the screen here. But everybody go follow Riley and Next Level Hoops. If you're in the Melbourne area, now you know where to go for basketball training. Riley's your guy. Thank you guys for listening. Riley, it was awesome to have you on. Absolutely.